What is up, sweet family, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dina Brenshi, and I'm a dating coach. And this episode is going to be all about anger. This energy series that I'm going to take you through follows the 7 levels of energy all the way up to absolute passion and creativity. This week is level 2, which talks about anger, defense, and frustration. So if that's something that you struggle with, stay tuned. You're going to love it. I can't wait to hear your response. Welcome to the Sweet Life Podcast. Are you ready to start living your life with more passion, purpose, and pleasure? And stay tuned to learn more from your behavioralist expert, dating coach, and relationship guru, Sweet Deans. Good morning, sweet family. Here we are at episode 6. This episode is all about anger. So be prepared to rage with me as we discuss how to move from anger to cooperation. Last week, we talked about how to move up from the lowest level of energy that you can operate at, which is apathy, and shift into anger. This week, we'll talk about how to exponentially increase our energy from anger into cooperation. And even though I don't often talk about the beneficial side of anger, I recognize the significant amount of energy that it produces is so far beyond apathy, and it may be necessary for some people to reach into anger first to raise their energetic frequency before moving into even higher levels, like cooperation. You can think about energy like this. It is the currency of life. And I learned from Einstein about the first law of thermodynamics, aka the law of the conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or changed from one form to another. So for those of you non-science loving people, this law simply means that you can trade back and forth energy like money for goods. You cannot receive it out of nowhere for no reason like a money tree. And it can't be destroyed like cockroaches in the apocalypse. So keep that in mind as we explore our way through anger and recognizing that it is the low-level energetic output. So you're only capable of receiving a response that matches that level of energy. So together, we'll identify what physiological cues you might feel when you're triggered by anger, as well as diving into what some dialogue or self-talk might look like at this level and how to put awareness on it. We'll go through some helpful tips and tricks to stop anger before it turns to rage, and how to make a choice on purpose to move out of this space into higher energy levels. The reason I think this work is so powerful is that once you recognize these energy levels, you start to understand where everyone around you is operating at and how to actively choose to either match their energetic level or help them raise up to yours. Imagine a world where everyone was so actively aware of the energetic levels that they were operating at that they deliberately encouraged the growth of everyone around them and wanted to build each other up. I know we're just dreaming here, but that's my goal. I know that my life's purpose is to serve those around me and love each person exactly where they're at on their journey without judgment. I take my life's purpose pretty seriously, so I'm sharing everything that I've learned so that you can use it for whatever your life's journey is. Okay, so today, we're going to start by building off of last week's episode on apathy. And funny enough, last week my audio editor kept telling me that I needed more energy in my recording, but because I was under the weather and feeling rather low energy, we both couldn't help but laugh at the irony of this lesson and how well it matched my feelings. That's not to say that this week I'm going to be mad at him to match the tone of the lesson, but you never know. So let's talk about how to move from apathy to anger, and then from anger to cooperation. At the cooperative level, there's a real shift in how well people are able to communicate and move things forward in a much more impactful, energetic way. So have you ever been in a situation where someone is really angry and yells at you? Yeah, me too. And it feels deflating. So remember that idea of energetic currency. When you input anger, you get back feelings comparable to it so that it's an even trade. You might feel defensive, combative, defiant, frustrated, and annoyed. And it's perfectly normal for you to feel this way because anger energy gets anger response. That's just a kind of default trading mode. This might be from a boss or a friend or a partner, And regardless of who this energy is coming from, it doesn't feel productive. It can really feel draining because it's lowering your energetic level to match theirs. Sure, you might get results at this level of communication, but you will get the bare minimum of results. This energetic level just isn't high enough to yield high-level results. You might think that you only get work done when you're mad at yourself or when you're punishing yourself or by forcing other people to do their job right. But take a step back. How true is that really? What results are you pushing forward right now with anger and frustration? How satisfied are you with your output on this energetic frequency? What would it feel like to be fully supported in whatever your goals are this week and have all the energy you needed to produce high-level products instead of feeling frustrated and grinding through them? I want you to start to put awareness on what level of energy you're at, as well as everyone else around you. It's such a useful bit of awareness to have. This exercise will not only benefit you, but it will benefit your work life, your home life, relationships. So once you start to recognize your level of awareness, you'll start to pick up on patterns and see where your energy is being spent. Do you find yourself saying things like, I just wish everyone would do their job better because I'm the only one doing anything? Or why can't my boss just be nice and stop being so rude all the time? Or even, I did a great job at my assignment and they're just criticizing me because they're jealous. These statements are coming from a place of defense and annoyance. The question that I'm going to ask you here are those thoughts giving you energy or are they leaving you feeling drained? It doesn't matter to me if the thoughts are true or false. That has no meaning. I only care if they're useful to you or giving you power and energy. It's funny to hear these phrases after you have awareness of this concept because you'll automatically remember that's an anger response and a low-level way of thinking. This can be such a powerful tool to utilize because after awareness of anger comes the next level up, which is managing it and moving towards cooperation. So how do we make that huge jump from anger to cooperation? It starts with you. Ultimately, your thoughts control your feelings, and it always starts and ends with you. So let's lay to rest for a moment those feelings that you have towards your coworkers and roommates and their energetic output, and just focus on you. So we should start with the premise here that all of life is choice. Everything you do and don't do is your choice always. You choose to work or not. You choose to think the thoughts that you have, and you're choosing to listen to this podcast right now to elevate your level of thought work. All of that is choice. So when you choose to shift your level of energy from conflict to solution, that is your choice. Even if the other person doesn't participate in this, because I think that's where we get stuck. Like, yes, I'm willing to cooperate, but they aren't. Ugh. So I know our brain's natural tendency to want to go there, but just focus for a moment on yourself. This lesson is all about you. It always starts with awareness. So if you don't recognize it's happening, it's impossible to shift out of it. So just be aware of yourself and your words. If you start to notice signs that anger is coming, like you feel tension in your throat, your palms begin to sweat, your ears get hot, or you hear yourself start to respond with anger, frustration, or annoyance, get excited. This is an opportunity to shift from low energy to higher energy. Take a moment to do a little breathing exercise. It works wonders with anger. Take a breath in and count. If it takes 5 seconds for you to take a breath in, then it needs to take 5 seconds for you to take a breath out. Then try to take longer and longer breaths. This exercise will take you out of that fight or flight sympathetic nervous system response that our animal brain wants to be in and restores power and control in our brains. I know quite a bit about angry animals, and I want you to know that I've been bit, scratched, or clawed by almost everything, and I can see how this works in the animal kingdom. So asking you to step outside of your lizard brain is a huge step. But we're Homo sapiens, and we can do this. So when you're in a space of frustration, recognize that the next step is cooperation. That's one level higher, but it's infinitely higher than the level below it. Just like that massive jump from apathy to anger, the space between anger and cooperation is exponentially larger, and this is where the real work comes in. Because if every time you saw anger as an opportunity to practice shifting into cooperation, what would that look like to you? What would it feel like to take a moment to reflect before response? What would it feel like to watch your thoughts without needing to attach to them? What if you operated under the thought that all of life is choice? No one is forcing you to be angry or stay angry, and you have the power to utilize anger if you choose to, or just watch it and not participate at that level. Anger to me is nothing more than an indicator of a mismatch between your expectations versus reality. So think about the last time you were angry. You had an expectation that the event would go a certain way. You might even be saying, yeah, the right way. And I'm going to give you an example here. Like you hold the door open for a stranger. They walk through it. They don't say thank you or even acknowledge your presence. This is a mismatch of your expectation, which would be the other person saying thank you for your kindness, versus the reality of the other person not saying anything. This might lead to anger. This is a great opportunity to practice awareness of anger arising in you and being able to make a choice for what to do next. Use this little bit of anger as an indicator that there's a mismatch and allow yourself to practice shifting into higher level thinking. The truth is, the person might be experiencing any number of different levels of energy, or just be oblivious, or is ignoring the gesture, who knows? And quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Because your thoughts create your feelings, and when you can take a step back and not make this mean anything about you or the other person, then you can really maintain your power and be aware of your choices. Because people are going to do things every day, all day long, that will be a mismatch of your expectations. And if we allow this energy to rule over us, it's blocking so much of our creative output, energy, and learning. If you think that just isn't possible, then I want to empower you to think about a situation in your life that makes you really upset. Get into this space of really experiencing this emotion. You might feel the warmth on the back of your neck. Your hairs might start to pick up. You might get a throbbing in your temple, and your hands might start to tighten into fist. Okay, so now we have our thought. Now I'm going to challenge you to think about this situation with the 3 levels of energy that we've learned so far. So first, think of a way that someone would view your situation with 0 energy and no power. You're helpless, avoidant, and depleted of resources. You have no solution, and most likely hiding is your best option here. You just don't have the energetic means to meet this problem. Next, think about how someone would respond with anger, frustration, anxiety, or fear. You might need to address this on the conflict level. So who can I blame and yell at for this? And how do I impose my will onto others and have them fearfully listen and obey? Or third, think about how someone would respond with cooperation, or at least understanding that a solution could exist or does exist that's cooperative. Where's the middle ground? Is there a compromise? This might take a little bit of vulnerability, but where's the opportunity for you to learn from this situation? See how each one of these scenarios feels to you, and then decide which one you want to keep. And I haven't even gotten into the higher energetic levels. This is just the first 3 levels. Just think, if you can master the jump from anger to cooperation, then the next jump will be a much smoother, gentler shift in thinking, and it gives you so much more energy to accomplish all that you need to do. And next week, we're going to take our energy up 1 level higher and talk about cooperation and how to move from that into service to others, and what that energy looks, feels, and acts like. I have to admit that the service level of energy is what I naturally resonate at, but as with each energetic level, there's of course trade-offs and opportunities for growth. So we'll take an in-depth look at that and continue our movement upwards towards more energetic growth each week. Because on the other side of a problem, there's always a solution. Thank you so much for watching, sweet family. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Make sure you subscribe. And I can't wait to talk to you next week. All my love.